Hi, this is Shaman Weaver Sheila Baker, and today I'm in Milwaukee. Um, and I was inspired, influenced, and determined to go to see the chapel of St. Joan of Arc. And part of the reasoning for that is because here is a young woman who was inspired by voices. Um, she was so inspired by voices that she, at 13, started to hear them. She heard the voice of God telling her that the Hundred Years' War, which had been going on for 100 years, was determined not to have the English be on French territory. At 17, she went on to go and see the generals and tell them about what these voices were telling her. And she got as far as being able to, in a crowd, pick out the man Charles, who was to be the future king. Now, these voices led her to, well, they led her to be Joan of Arc and to also be in a place where she had influence. So sometimes we hear things and we question where they come from. And then that questioning where they come from leads us to stop ourselves from going forward and doing what the voices say. So, we're told if you hear voices, there is probably something wrong with you. However, she didn't stop. And the first time she went, she was told she was told that she ought to go home. And as a matter of fact, she was not only told that she ought to go home, but she was told that her father ought to beat her because that would exorcise the demons that were in her. So when you hear things and you're inspired by them, no longer are we necessarily beaten but for this, but you may be beaten down for listening to the voices in your head that tell you, oh, this is a good thing to do, this is what your path is. It's listening to your heart. She was so determined that yes, she returned home, but she convinced her parents to allow her to go back again. Young women, especially 13, 14-year-olds, didn't travel alone at that time. So she was determined to have her voices heard. She was so determined that she actually had influential people, listen to her. So when you have a calling, when it's on your heart to do something, be aware that there are going to be others who tell you that this is not a good idea. But when you listen to your heart and you follow the influence of your heart, then you're going to come to do what's truly here for you to do. We all have a passion, we all have a purpose, and we all have a determination to do something good. So meditate, listen to your meditations, listen to what they say. You may not be inspired like she was to go and do something, but you might be inspired to do something for yourself. And in that doing something for yourself, you might influence and what's the word? Activate someone else to do something for themselves, or even with you, collaborate together. So I chose a card because I thought it was an important thing to do. So here we have Temperance. I'm going to put it up close. You can have a look at it. This is a divinely inspired card. It is the ability to temper things, which brings them into balance. And as you bring things into balance, and as you realize that what you're called to do brings you into spiritual balance, then there's an ability to take the higher path. So I'll put this up close so that you can see this. So over here is the higher path right here, and it ends in a crown. This particular card, which is the 14, 14 reduces down to a 5, and 5s are about lessons. So Joan of Arc had this passion, this desire, this hearing, and it led her to a place where obviously she was a huge influence. She was of such huge influence, and you may be too, that well, she lost her life because of it. But the important thing to think about here is in her losing her life at just age 19, in her mother's lifetime, and things didn't move fast back then. This is the 1400s. It wasn't like they could call somebody up on the phone and get something to happen. But in her lifetime, she was the decision that she was a heretic, and that the heresy was nullified. So use her as and other influential people. Find someone who touches your heart and follow their pathway. There are a lot of wonderful people who are doing what their heart is calling them to do. You may know some, you may even be one. But as you do this, take it to the highest level. Follow the highest path. So there are people along the way who say, you can't do that, or it's not for you to do, or who do you think you are to be leading in the way that you're leading? Think of Joan of Arc. If she had have given up, it could be that right now England would be have overtaken France. And think about the geography and all of the other things that would have changed in that if she hadn't have listened and tapped into her heart. So passion connected to your purpose is what exactly will take you to a new level. So tap in, meditate. There's a wonderful meditation on shamanweaver.com. It's free. Please sign up and get it. It's a chakra meditation. It aligns your chakras so you are a clear channel so that you can hear what it is that you're inspired to do. You may not hear voices, or if you do, you may query whether this is really true or not. But listen deeply to what your heart says. Meditate, follow your passion, and live your bliss. So tonight I'm in Milwaukee, and I'm Facebooking live from them. I'm going to teach later on this evening. You have the ability to influence, to first of all be inspired, to listen to your heart, to listen to what your calling is, to meditate on that, and to bring that forth in life. So as you are listening to this later, see what it is that you can tap into. And if you're inspired, by all means, set up a session with me. I have a complimentary 30 minutes where we'll look at where you'd like to be in 1 year, how it is that you can get there, where you are right now, what your obstacles are going to be, and what is going to inspire you to take those action steps to get you to where you want to go. So meditate, listen to the voices that have a calling on your heart, live your passion, and find your purpose. I'm delighted to help you with that. And go to shamanweaver.com. On calendar, book a session with me, and we'll look at where you can be in just one short little year. When you do that, you have a roadmap from where you are to where you want to be. You'll know what your obstacles are going to be and how you can get from here to there. So listen, meditate, breathe deeply, and bring more passion and inspiration into your life. So this is Shaman Weaver. Blessings. Aho.